This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 69 of Horsemanship Radio, brought to you by Index Fund Advisors, IFA.com. And Horsemanship Radio is a part of the family of the Horse Radio Network. And today we have two women that are just amazing at what they do on top of a horse and actually what they do around horses. This is Debbie Laux, and you're listening to the Horsemanship Radio. Thanks for joining us. Horsemanship Radio airs on the 1st and the 15th of the month, and I have my producer, Jen, with me today. Hi, Jen.
Greetings, Debbie. How are you doing?
Good, Coach Jen. I wanted to hear how you were catching up and going along with Nigel, and so I'm just going to throw you in the deep end. Tell me what you've been working, because it's exciting listening to the progress you're making with this new family friend. Well, it's been about 6 months now, I think.
Well, we got him in March.
March, okay.
March, April, May, June. So it's 4 months.
Only 4 months.
4 months. So we're getting to know each other a little bit more now. So what I've been working on a lot of late is teaching Nigel to catch me.
Catch you.
Yes. We talked about a little while ago, don't go catch your horse, teach your horse to catch you.
That's right.
Right. And when
you have trouble in the remind me?
When I first got Nigel, Nigel is not one to run away. He's not, he's a pretty low energy guy.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Pretty low energy guy. He doesn't get high energy anything until something terrifying is happening and the sky is falling. Then hell breaks loose. But but he was prone to walking away from me. He just kind of pick his head up from the grass and look behind him. Was like, oh, here she comes. She might go riding. I think I'm gonna walk away.
Just about 10 feet further.
Yeah, just a little 10 feet subtle, but like he was letting me know what he was thinking. And that got a little bit better. But then he would just stand there, and I would have to go and find him and drag his head up out of the grass. It's like, well, this sucks. I don't want to do that all the time. I want to try this. So I've been
hot in Florida in July.
It's hot in Florida in July, exactly. And I want the horse to see me coming and go, oh, hi, how you doing? Let's hang out together. Yeah. And with Nigel, because he has what I call horsey low self-esteem.
Oh,
he likes being with other horses. He's not so herd sour that he needs to be with the horse, but he likes to be surrounded by other horses. And if he's not, he worries. The ears go up, the adrenaline goes up. He thinks there might be a predator around. And I want him to understand that I can be there, and that's just as good as having another horse around.
You're herd. Yeah.
He's herd. And I figured if he can make that connection that he wants to come to me in the pasture, that means he's developing that type of a relationship with me. Because that's what he would do to another horse, right?
Right.
So this is going to be important for a horse who lacks that self-confidence versus my other horse, Beaker, who's like, no, I'm not going to come to you. But he was the most confident horse in the whole wide world. You could take every other horse on the planet and they would go away, and he was cool with me.
That's a nice relationship.
It was a very different relationship and a very different horse. So I've been working on using my body language. Again, I don't do round pen work with him and stuff like that. I'm a very casual trainer in that respect because for various reasons. Yeah. But I've been using my body language. I watched some of the videos on Monty's University, and I've been using my body language so that, you go into the pasture in the morning. He's standing there at the gate because he wants to come in, right? That's what you do. Mm-hmm. So I just close the gate behind me and walk away. And if he doesn't want to come with me, he doesn't, then I have to turn and I have to put some pressure on him to make him move.
Perfect. And what do you do? What part of your body are you doing that pressure with?
I get my body square to his.
Good.
And I usually have my lead rope with me, and I'll just use the lead rope to toss it towards him.
Okay.
Towards the middle of his body. I found that just using my arms and my body language, nothing happes.
What about your eyes?
My eyes, I have to keep my eyes square on him, because if I look away, he's like, you don't mean it.
Yeah.
He's got that. He's like, you don't mean that. I can tell. And if I don't look at him, he's not getting the whole picture.
Right.
If I'm just casually tossing a lead rope towards him as I walk away, I'm going to confuse him, because that doesn't mean anything to the horse. That's like, what the heck are you doing? You're telling me to move and leaving? So I've been doing that. And the first week or so, he wouldn't even move away. He would just kind of park himself and go, "What are you doing?" He didn't understand what the question was, because you stand at the gate and you get caught. That's what you do.
Right.
So there was a little bit of a learning curve, and I had to refine my body language a lot because, of course, I'm not very good at it. So I got that refined. And each time I got it better, I would have to go back and read and watch the videos again. Each time I got better at it, he would respond better. And this past week, something that finally started to click, when the horse is still, and he's still, and you want him to follow you, you have to get into his right eye's visual field and then come back across and walk away so he can follow you.
Across the body axis.
Cross the body axis. Those are the words, cross the body axis. But and I didn't have a good handle on that process without creating a lot of other body language cues unintentionally.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you mean.
See, so I was doing things with my body completely unaware that he saw as signals. So it was like I had two voices talking at him at the same time. And once I finally got that body language down, that I didn't have a lot of extra stuff, that I could first move him away, and then he would turn towards me, and he would stand, he would move. I have to get in across that axis so he'd get into the other side, and then start to take the step away. And I have to use, most of the time, I have to use my hand with closing my hand and bringing it towards my body.
Okay.
And
crossing it or something, softening it.
Softening. I have to start out with open, then crossing towards as I turn away from him with my shoulder and start to take 2 steps away. I have to get those two together, and he follows me straight back towards the center of the pasture, and he's just happy as a clam, strolling along, going, cool. And he's not turning his ear back on, oh my gosh, I'm not going in for food. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to the other horse. He's completely confident. Sure, I'll hang out here with you. Put my halter on. And I turn him to leave the pasture. He walks with me. He doesn't walk in front of me trying to get to the other horse, because he's going, cool, you're my human. You're part of my herd. You understand you understand my language. I can trust you. And it's really, really cool.
Oh, I love that. I love that, Jen. That's so great. And you're getting that inertia because you're not only giving him the right, crossing that body axis, we should explain, is that's what the moms teach the babies too. People may not be aware of it, but flight animals, even deer, they have a permission slip from their mom through body language, because people know that they're silent as well. Deer and horses, the moms teach them to, it's a survival mechanism, to stay where they are. And there's an invitational gesture that most flight animals that I know about anyway, all have it, where they say, it's okay to move now. And some people go ahead and study the little deer that they just flatten down on the ground, flat as a pancake. They can be within, you can almost touch them and you can barely see them. And they learn to hide these things. So this body axis thing is something that's been discovered. And Dad teaches it in all his courses, because it's such a phenomenal way to really test your body skills. And you're doing it beautifully. And sometimes people have to correct, like if you're holding a lead in the opposite hand away from the horse, it starts to dangle a little bit and you don't know it. So maybe have a friend sometime. Jen, you're doing it great. But have, listeners, think about all the different signs, because there's probably one little sticking spot if it's not working for you. That the horse is not
That's what I did. I had to keep going back and watching the video, and I have to be super hyper aware of where my body is, just so I can be more aware of it. Not so much because I need to change it. First, I have to be aware of it. I can't change something I'm completely unaware of. I mean, more cognizant of where my eyes are, where my shoulders are, where my hands are. How my shoulders, what angle they are to the horse. And as I become more aware of it, I say, oh, maybe I should adjust that. And when I get it just right, I can see the horse going, okay. I can see a little light.
You got
it. And then the first time something like that happens, the little light bulb comes on. And he goes, okay, I think you've got it. I think you've got it. But then it'll take a couple of more times that I get it right before he goes, okay, I trust you now.
She really does know this language.
Yeah, exactly. He's not willing to give in right away. And I think that because he's not an overly confident horse, he's not willing to give me that trust right away. He's not going, sure, I got you. Like, no, I like my little pony friend. You have to prove yourself, and then I'll trust you.
My pony friend.
My little pony friend. And it's funny.
You're the little two-legged pony.
The little pony friend who chases him, bites him in the butt, but speaks fluid horse.
Mhm. Mhm. Exactly.
There you
You're
go.
so cute. You're so cute. No, that's really exciting. I mean, sometimes people do little things where they flick their fingers a little bit, or they flutter their eyes a little bit. It can be the tiniest thing, and we're making it sound so difficult, but it's really not. When the horse has had confidence factors taken away from her or whatever, he just was born that way. We have to work a little harder. But if you've been with a horse a long time, they understand you. They get you. They'll give you a lot of leeway on these things.
They
But
do, yes.
if you really, but you're new with Nigel, so it's all a learning curve for him
Yeah,
to
yeah.
convince him that you really do know the language. So
And
it's fun.
I
People
thought I'd
should have
start from
fun with
square
that.
one that way. It's like, well, before I go, before I buy into poor body language communication with him, let's just start anew. Why learn to speak bad English when I can learn to speak good English to get to from the get go? And
That's
it's
right.
really paying off because he's not a trusting guy, and he's really trying hard, and he tries harder each week. I can see him going, I think I'm going to try a little harder, and I'm loving it.
Good.
Yay.
Good. Your language is good. Your mom did a good job of teaching you language, and so is Monty. That's good.
Mom taught me English. Monty taught me horse.
That's right. No ain'ts in here, and yeah, we're not talking. Well, we're gonna have some fun today because we're gonna hear a little bit from a barrel racing couple, Lee and Hallie Hanssen, who are and I hear you had a little barrel racing experience yourself. So tell me what your thoughts are. Did you lose your hat?
Back in the day, barrel racing. Oh, of course, the hat falls off.
Yeah, the hat goes. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay. Back in the day, when I was a little kid, we grew up with lots of naughty ponies. And we were kind of backyard horse kids, so we just climb on them bareback like little Indians, as they used to say. And barrel racing was one of the classes we would always go in at the local little pony shows. And invariably, we would get to the first barrel, get around that, and then usually the pony would turn his head left and his shoulder right, and we'd go through the finish flags before we even get the second barrel.
Yes, centrifugal force. You're just God. Right?
And that's how we barrel raced.
You were trying to stay ahead of the barrel when you're.
We were just trying to stay on. Oh, we love.
So you're bareback on these ponies? You doing?
Oh, at home, absolutely. Nice. Now at the horse show, they required us to use a saddle, but we were terrible barrel racing kids. We were so bad, and we'd pull on the little ponies, and we'd kick and kick and kick, and it's no wonder they wanted to run home. It's bad.
Just put the barrels in between them and the stable, and
see, that's how it would work. Absolutely, yeah.
Well, we're going to hear from some professionals on this.
Yes, I'm very excited to hear about them because these aren't just barrel racers. These are folks who are very serious and produce some beautiful futurity barrel racing horses.
They do, and that's it. They're not only wonderful performers and competitors, but they know from get-go how to breed a horse and get them happy and partnering with them in this job that is called racing as fast as you can around 3 barrels and out the arena. Sounds tough on horses, but this is the future. The way they treat these horses and how sweet they are and loving and healthy and partnering is just this is something to be emulated. So let's listen in.
Hi, I'm Mark Hebner, president of Index Fund Advisors and proud owner of Monty Roberts' Willing Partners graduate, He's a Sugar Bear. Investment portfolios are a lot like horses. You need to find one that best suits you, your temperament, and your stage of life. Some people might like an energetic horse and an aggressive investment portfolio, while others are more comfortable with a gentle ride and a more conservative investment portfolio. The trick is to find the one that's right for you. That's what Index Fund Advisors is all about, matching people with portfolios, risk-appropriate, low-cost, and globally diversified investment portfolios. You can find the right portfolio for you by taking the Risk Capacity Survey at IFA.com. That's IFA as an Index Fund Advisors. Or you can call us toll-free at 888-643-3133. That's 888-643-3133.
Our first guest, Desiree Smith Johnson, began riding at age 6 and by 8 was a U.S. pony clubber in Virginia. She found fox hunting at age 10 and she rode to the hound side saddle, competing in the International Horse Show in Washington, D.C. Successfully competing, coached by her mom, Dorothy, Desiree began preliminary level at 14 and placed third in the junior internationals at that level. Desiree spent the next 4 years achieving her intermediary level at 16 and advanced level at 18. Desiree has been a successful 3-day eventer. She's galloped racehorses, she taught combined training, and was an instructor at the Los Angeles Equestrian Center and other centers in Southern California, too. Her career has included modeling, membership in the Screen Actors Guild, Japanese and Korean styles of karate, and even competitive billiards.
Billiards, wow.
Throw that one in there. In 2013, Desiree and her husband, Eric, bought the struggling Smooth Stride Riding Jean Company and has now found a wonderful balance of working jeans, horses, and teaching with her husband, Eric, in Orange County, California. Well, welcome, Desiree Johnson. I'm so glad to have you on the line, finally. Can I call you Des?
Thank you. Yes, you may. Thank you. Very nice. I'm very happy to be here.
My gosh, we've communicated by every means now. I think we've texted, we've emailed and everything, but we really even haven't sat down and had lunch yet or done anything. And you're now living in Orange County, California.
I am. I get my key. I do the walkthrough, the final walkthrough this afternoon, right after this interview. And I believe I'm getting the keys tomorrow. So I am, today's a good day because my kitties, I have 2 big fat hairy barn cats that I brought with me that have been boarding. I go and see them every single day, but the mommy and me needs to get those cats into their new home.
Oh, yeah. But I bet you have your horse all bedded down and like all figured out on that, right?
Yes. And he is loving his new place. It's quite different from what we're used to. And he's settling in nicely.
Good. I'm glad you got him figured out. That's, well, the husbands will be last, of course, but we'll get everything.
Yeah. And he was organized a year ago. So that's how long I was working on finding a place for him. So long as the horse is happy, then you know how it goes, girl.
That's nice. That's so sweet. Well, we wanted to have you on because you're such a multi-talented teacher, business owner, horsewoman. And I wonder what it is about horses that keeps them in your life.
It's an unexplained drive I have. I've heard other women try to explain it, but I was just born. I was born to work with horses. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have, and it doesn't have to be an expensive thing. I could be fine with having a freebie in a dinky place. I'd make it work. It just would, on a shoestring, which I've done many times. So it's just something that's in me that will never stop.
Well, it's great. We're lucky to have you in the business, and I can't believe how many different kinds of horse industries you've been involved with. But we'll get to know you a little bit, I hope, in the next few minutes. But one of the things that I think has been really important is in your life, it seems, is your mom. She seems to be a strong influence in your life. And do you guys still talk horses when you talk? Or
absolutely. Yep. We are the epitome of the mother-daughter, horsey mother-daughter team, literally. And to this day, we talk every day. And I tell her everything that goes, because she bred the little horse that I have right now. And so it's just a real special thing to hear how he does every day, that sort of thing.
Yeah, fantastic. Where does she live now? How far away is she?
She lives in Tucson, Arizona.
Not too bad. So you're not too far away. You can pop over there. Yeah. Maybe she should come here, though, this time of year. Tucson gets a little warm this time of year. It's a beautiful city, but it is warm. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to hear some about the growing up. You went from fox hunting to, was it 3-day eventing after that?
Yes. Yep. Mom actually was one of those gals that wanted to ride when she was young and didn't have the opportunity. So when she grew up, she was a young 30-year-old, her second marriage. And my stepdad was from Alabama, and he played polo. And so they bought a farm in Virginia. Actually, not to start off with, he was a lawyer in DC. And as he climbed up the corporate ladder, we'd get a little farm, and then we'd got a little bit bigger farm, and then we got a little bit bigger farm. Nice. And she, when she started to ride, she went to the Potomac Horse Center, and actually some of her very first dressage lessons were with Nuno Oliveira. And she would come home and give me that exact same lesson on my little pony.
Oh, great.
Yep. And I started off little hunter jumpers, little hunter shower, and bought my pony. They bought me a pony for Christmas. I was one of those with the bow around the neck. And I got a little bored with that real fast. Both of us got bored with that real fast. And we decided to join the pony club. And I started pony club at, I think I was 8. And then my stepdad bought me a pony without talking to Mom. And he bought me a 2-year-old little cob, little mutt type pony. Mm-hmm. And they let me, 5 years old at that time was the age limit. You needed to be at least 5, but they let me take a 2-year-old. So I was 9 years old with a 2-year-old and in pony club. And that was the start of my eventing journey, was, through pony club. And then Mom saved up grocery money and bought Foxy. And he was half Lippet Trotter, Morgan, half Man o' War. And a quick, interesting story about that. It was at a Morgan breeding farm, and the mare, the Morgan mare, would have nothing to do with their count, their Morgan stallion. So they had a stallion they had retired for friends and used him as a teaser. Mm-hmm. And she liked the teaser better than the other guy. So out popped Foxy, and he was a half-bred sitting in a field when Mom found him, bought him, and he turned into her fox hunter. And she's the one who took the lessons from Nuno on. And as I got a little bit bigger, she started working with me on Foxy. So Foxy and I started very young together, and Mom was coach. She did all the driving. I rode side saddle. I fox hunted side saddle, not on Foxy, but I hunted on Free. So it was that little black pony who became an incredible field hunter. I was junior master twice. And that pony would lead the field over anything. Really? Anything. But the pony didn't like to event. She liked being with the herd. She just didn't like leaving everybody. Mm-hmm. So it was nice having Foxy, because Foxy he had the go button. He was the one that would just say, "Hang on, honey." Yeah. And try to rate me properly, because as I got a little bit older, he would literally jump me out of the tack. I fell off so many times. Mom would say, "Des, you've got to try to stay on, honey." But his jump was so huge, and I was so little that, anyway, so I finally got stronger and so ask me another question.
Yeah, no, that's trial by fire. That's amazing. His heart was bigger than his body. That's cute. Amazing. Yeah, because that's a tough sport. You're a brave little 9-year-old to do stuff like that too. And green on green means black and blue, so that was just, that's just the way it works with the young horse and the young bodies. But you guys are fearless. So at 9 years old, who's going to tell you to stop, right?
That's right. It's tough to tell a 9-year-old horse crazy kid to stop doing anything, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. That they're loving. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was a monster. I was a monster kid. I was just, just bigger. I was bigger than life, just a big little girl. And so the horse, he and I made a real good and I was a show off, and that Mom was behind the scenes. She didn't like the nerves. She didn't like to compete. And so we made the perfect team, because I was all about, which brings me into my being pulled in by Wofford. So Alexander McKay Smith was in our hunt field, and he started noticing me and mentioned to Jimmy, local gal that whatever. And I was a little bit too young for Jimmy to take me on until Alexander said, "Take her on." And Jimmy said, "Yes, sir." And so, interesting story is, of course, when I went to Jimmy, not of course, but, I'm this cocky little hot shot, and he wasn't getting through. And so I'm not sure if it was the second or the third lesson, but he asked permission from Mom to get through to me. And this was one of the biggest lessons I've ever had in my life, was walking in a 10-meter circle around Mr. James Wofford while he had a conversation with me. And it was hard. It was hard, but he got through all the layers of the young teenager, because then I was, was I 13 or 14? Can't remember, 13 or 14. And, blubbering, but still on top of the horse. And then we started working together, and we made it to the World Championships together. He got me there. He got me and the horse there. And that was a huge lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you became a teacher after that too in your adult life. So that lesson probably has served you well.
Yes. And that also was interesting because after the World Championships, there was that was a hard time because my mom and dad divorced, my second dad. So here I am on my own, and life gets in the way sometimes of riding and riders and plans and all of that. And this is just one of those times where it really got in the way. I was asked when I was 16 if I wanted to go to Foxcroft to private school, or if I wanted to try to work to make the farm and equestrian center. And of course, what's a 16-year-old going to say? So I wasn't prepared for college. I was looking towards the Olympics, which were 2 years after the World Championships.
Oh, yeah.
And I had first string, second string, third string babies coming along, one of whom later on we sold that went to Rolex. So I would have had the horse flesh. But they divorced, sold everything. And I was given one of the homebred babies, and I was on my own, literally on my own. Now, of course, I still had my mom and the support and the love, but all the money, and this is before Young Riders, this is before the internet. And, back when you look for jobs at the back of Practical Horseman magazine to try to find a job. So it was, that's when in order to be able to get strong for the World Championships and just for eventing in general, I galloped racehorses at the Middleburg training track. And that was another huge part of my growth as a rider, because I rode babies. And I'm not sure and Debbie, you mentioned you've got a bit of racing track background with your...
Dad, for sure. I mean, my whole growing up, that segment of Dad's career was really in the thoroughbred business. And I was even thinking perhaps we even know some of the exercise riders that have come through that went on to be jocks and did, or trainers, and did wonderful things. But what, you were in Virginia then? No, where were you?
I was in Virginia, Middleburg. Yep, Middleburg. Now this was before the World Championships, where I trained with Barb, and that was to just I needed to get really strong. He needed to do something to give me an edge. And he actually, that's part of what his system. He encourages his riders to gallop. And there was this lady that would take his students on and take them under her wing. And so that was my summer job for 2 summers in a row. And then, so when I was on my own after the Worlds, I went back to what I knew that I could do to earn a living. And so I galloped racehorses in Aiken, South Carolina. And then anyway, what happened was I moved back to Pennsylvania, and it was cold. It was 6 degrees, and I was cold. I was just so tired of being cold. So I moved down to St. Simon's Island, and I got a teaching job from a wanted ad at the back of Practical Horseman magazine. And I realized that I didn't know how to teach. Now, I was a B pony clubber, and I had all the riding, all the credentials, but to get my A, the world champion way. So I missed my A because of that whole selection process and all that. And I should probably talk to you a little bit about Foxy at the World Championships, but
that's quite a story.
I realized I didn't know how to teach. And so this gal from Georgia offered me a job. She kind of stole me away. And then she taught me how to teach. And it was a system, a lunge line system she had, a little routine. And that was the beginnings of me learning how to teach. And I taught a college, a group of college gals. And I've been teaching ever since. And that system, her name is Kay Normant. And I believe she was a friend of Wofford's. And that system has been my, because every instructor kind of has their spiel, that you have to have a whatever. And so, yep.
Yeah. So you've been teaching ever since. You're still teaching now, if you have an opportunity, right?
Yes, I still have my. I've got my insurance, so I can teach anywhere in the U.S. right now. I'm not currently right now, just because honestly, the genes are taking up so much of my time. So
if you had a preferred student, what would you teach them right now? What would you?
I'm all about eventing.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd love to. I'm an event. I love to coach. I love to take riders and hold their hand through the whole process. I think that's one of the hardest things is when you're new to eventing. If you don't have somebody who knows the ropes, you make too many mistakes and you waste too much time because there's so many rules and, so having somebody to help you through that for at least 2, 3, 4 events, I think is invaluable.
Yeah. So I've got to ask, since you came up through the eventing ranks, similar time period as I did, when you went through the Jimmy Wofford School of Eventing, which is it creates a very self-sufficient, tough, and well-rounded rider. In today's current eventing culture, the eventing sport is really, really changing very rapidly right now, and by necessity, in order for it to continue to thrive. Do you think that there needs to be a return to the Jimmy Wofford School of Eventing coaching, in that we're not creating, or are we still creating the well-rounded eventing rider that we used to, because the sport has changed. We don't have 4 phases anymore. We have a very, very shortened version of what cross country used to be. And a lot of people are focusing a great deal on the technicalities of show jumping and the technicalities of dressage, but a lot less so on cross country. And by necessity, a lot fewer people are spending time on the cross country course or in the fox hunting field because it's no longer available. Do you think that is something that the sport needs to return to, or do you think that those technicalities can suffice?
Yep, I think everything is going along well. What happens is that you're right. The emphasis on the dressage and the show jumping has bumped up a lot, but that just makes the jumping better. That makes the cross country safer because you've got a better trained, better gymnasticized horse. Now, Jimmy was always about not, he really wanted his horses to think for themselves out on course. So there's a difference about a horse that does dressage only, where their brain is literally hooked back up into your brain. And he likes his cross country horses to really be able to get out of a problem on their own, sort things out, real caddy-like. But that being said, with the warm blood movement coming in that makes the dressage better, the caliber of riders. The one thing about being an athlete that does 3 different disciplines is that I love dressage. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I'm not one of those event riders that just gets through the dressage so they can go out and have their jollies cross country. And I'm seeing a lot more event riders bump up their game because literally you win it in dressage and you lose it jumping. These days you can't be in 5th, 6th, 7th place after dressage and then still expect to come up after the jumping. So I'm thinking everybody's, I'm seeing everybody doing just fine.
Yeah, you're right that the days when you could be in 10th place after dressage and still have a really good chance at winning the competition, at least when you get up into the 3 and 4 star levels, are pretty near gone. You're right there, and it's fun to watch. And there are several 4-star international eventers here in the United States that also compete at the Grand Prix international level, either in show jumping or in dressage, and sometimes with the same horses. So it's really kind of cool that they've taken that on and really are taking the best of all 3 sports and putting it back into their eventing skills.
Yep. that cross training, that crossover, just gives you an edge. And every edge you could these days, man, you have to have an edge, because the sophistication and the athleticism in all three disciplines has just bumped way up. The course designers for the show jumping, it's crazy now. The bending lines and it's just so different from what I grew up with.
Mm-hmm. It's a very, very different sport. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and the variety of horses that we're seeing in the 3-day eventing is amazing too. I mean, you're seeing the off-the-track thoroughbreds that are doing so well at Rolex, and these hugely, hugely difficult courses that are amazing that they can do that.
Now,
Right.
are we going to see Desiree Johnson up there at the CICs anytime soon? Or you?
I learned a hard lesson this last 10 years. I was out of riding for a little while in California before I moved up to Washington State, and I hung up my spurs for about 10 years and worked corporate, and I was a struggling equestrian for so long. And when I came back into riding, I bought a horse, a nice young Oldenburg thoroughbred, big guy. And I thought that if anybody could do it, if anybody could take a horse novice, I could.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody on the planet could, I could. And I fell in love with this horse because I had been off for years, and I had, I've gotten back into riding. And honestly, I wasted too much. He was chicken. He was a chicken. And I never had any time, or never had any jump faults. He never refused, but I couldn't make the time. He would see something in the horizon, whatever, and on the middle of the field, he would just stop dead because he had to look at it. And I was a little stubborn, and I thought, I can work through this. But I learned a big lesson, and that's not going to happen again. So that being said, I'm at an age now where I want to listen to my horse. And because I know that my training is sound. I know that I know what I'm doing. And if I do what I do best and the horse has it in him, he will come up and rise to the occasion. Mm-hmm. And if he doesn't, it's not because of me. And so I have this young horse, and I'm going to do my thing, and we shall see. Now, having to do with the big stuff again, I'm back down in English country. I was up in Western country for 11 years, and not a lot of opportunity for me to take lessons from somebody. Now, there was a dressage instructress in Walla Walla, which is over an hour drive, and she was a judge, and she was great. I loved her, but jumping wise, I really didn't have anybody to hold my hand and school me and crew for me once the jumps got really big. So that's changed because I'm down in jumping country now. So, and I have a very athletic, well-bred young guy, and I'm still, knock on wood, very, very fit and sound for riding. That's one thing. My intense respect and passion and love for Mr. Wofford is that I have stayed in riding shape my whole life, even when I wasn't riding. I was running, just saying, Jimmy, I'll be ready. I'll never not be ready. And so the real high level, I'm not sure. It all depends on the critter.
It doesn't sound like anybody's going to stop you. Yeah, you're going to take that horse to his fullest potential, but
to whatever
right.
You're able to, and you said something that I think is important. It's one of the reasons that I wanted to talk to you about this and have people know what you're about. And you said that you listen to your horse. So I so appreciate that. It sounds a little vague to some people, like, what does that mean? Listen to their horse. But I bet you could sum it up in a couple of sentences. What does listening to your horse mean to you?
I try to focus on what I'm doing with them that they enjoy. And if they're enjoying it, then rock and roll. If they're not enjoying it, if the ears are back, or they're not going forward, or they don't want to, anything negative, anything, I sit back and I go over my training schedule and I go over all that. And then I think, this horse he just doesn't think, he doesn't like it. He doesn't want to do that. And I have been on so many horses that now it's just natural. It's just instinctive. But the lesson I learned with this other horse was that I have to let my ego go, because it's not all about me. It's about them being available. And if they're not available, then there's nothing I can do. As good as I am, now maybe Philip Dutton could have done something with this horse, but I'm not Philip Dutton, and I'm a little lady. And, but yeah, horses that from the minute I put them, even when I put them in the grooming station, if they don't like a certain brush, I'll get another one. Mm-hmm. I listen, I look at them, I look at their body language, they talk to me, and I know they appreciate it. Mm-hmm. I can tell.
That's why we love you, Des. That's awesome. I appreciate that so much. Because to be a competitor at the level that you're at and above, it takes that. If you're not listening to your horse, if you think you can just force them into tractor mode, good luck with that.
No kidding.
Yeah. So proud of you, little lady, as John Wayne would say.
Thank you.
So this is an important question to me, because I wanted to ask you, now that you're in Orange County and you're at the Orange County Fairgrounds, which I know is, surrounded by Costa Mesa and cities and everything, where are you going to go trail riding now, lady?
Well, Galway Downs, I do believe, has some trails around it, because I have a Facebook friend who was out on it. He boards across the street, and he said that there are some trails up there. But to be honest with you, right now, I'm not quite sure. But I have my trailer. I've got my rig, my truck, and my trailer.
There you go.
So once I get settled in my home, I'm going to start sniffing out places to go to. Now I know I do want to go there when I start my cross country schooling. Mm-hmm. I have a friend who has 4,000 acres out in Tehachapi. I know it's a bit of a hike, but I could go out there and live in my LQ for 3-4 days and
that sounds awesome.
Do that. But there are, people are eventing down here and doing it very well. So there's got to be a way to pump hills. If there is, I'll find it.
You'll find it. I'm not worried about you. Well, we'll have to have you up to Flagstaff Farm sometime, and you go around the racetrack.
I know. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, good. Okay, because we're gonna have to talk racehorses sometime, and some of the.
Oh, and I didn't tell you that I galloped racehorses. When I did move to Cal, I had to tell you that I did gallop at Hollywood Park.
You did?
And I did. I galloped horses, and these weren't babies; these were the big boys. And I have to tell you a quick story.
Yeah.
Just the second day I was there, they put me on a horse that I needed to breeze. Go whatever, and. Anyway, there was a runaway on track, and when the runaway had to go, and I was torn to shreds that second day. I couldn't move, but I was still so young and resilient that the next day I popped right up and I was ready to do it again, and I got to break out of the gate and to breeze some real race horses, and that was incredible. When I first started, I couldn't pick up one of the straw bales. By the end of the session that I was there, I could not only pick it up, but I could walk it down the shed row.
Good girl. Oh my gosh. Pound for pound, I think you exercise riders and jockeys are pound for pound the strongest athletes on earth, bar none. So proud of you. I mean, and hearts, that muscle's pretty big too. You guys are brave souls, A lot of fun. Well, we're going to have to compare some notes with some people. Gosh, Shannon McCarty, Allison Booth, Satish Simar, some of these people who were at the track when back in the time when you were too. We'll probably know some people. Yeah, fun. Well, it was great having you on. We didn't even talk about those beautiful jeans of yours that make everybody's backside look so nice. But we're so glad that you're down here with your business, Smooth Stride Jeans, and we'll have a link to them on the show notes. And what's the website that everybody should go to see what you're up to?
It's www.smoothstride.com. I have a little this is what they look like video, so you can actually see them on a body in it's a video. Mm-hmm. And I'm in charge now of manufacturing. Eric's put me not in charge, but I'm in training. So I went and met sewing contractor on Friday, and I'm organizing our fourth production run, and they're being received extremely well. Western riders have been starving for riding jean that they can ride, a real blue jean they can ride in, and
without that,
so happy.
I'm so happy too. I bought mine, then I bought a couple of my best girlfriend horse friends, a couple, and I can tell you that we just live in them. It's so nice. Yep. Yeah. And they're so nice. Yep. They're a dark blue too. I like the blue and everything. I just wore them all the way to Dubai, South Africa, and back, and that was no short trip. And they practically stood up by the time I got home, but they were so comfortable the whole time. I loved them. Cool. So people should check that out. All right. Well, Desiree Johnson, thank you so much for joining us today on Horsemanship Radio.
Thank you, ladies.
A lot of fun.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We all hear about omega-3 and how important it is for your horse's nutrition. But why? Well, simply put, horses were created to get all of their nutrition from live, natural grasses. Omega-3 is an essential fat found in many types of live grasses, and it's critical to the horse's health. If they were living on live grasses 24/7, they would be receiving enough omega-3. But in today's world, most horses are fed commercial feed and forage as their primary nutrition, and most of these are lacking in omega-3. That's where Omega Fields comes in. All of Omega Fields flax-based products provide a balanced, essential profile of omega-3, 6, 9, and may be helpful in alleviating problems related to skin, coat, hoof, joint, and sand colic. One of Omega Fields' terrific products is Omega Horse Shine. Omega Horse Shine is an omega-3 stabilized ground flaxseed supplement for horses to help maintain a shiny, healthy coat, strong, solid hooves, and top performance for horses in all life stages. Omega Fields provides the best human-grade, non-GMO ground flax that can help horses with dry, scaly, itchy skin, joint pain and inflammation, poor hoof growth, allergies, and more. Don't just listen to Debbie and I. Alexandra, a customer of Omega Fields, says any horse I ever own, I will feed them Omega Horse Shine, and I will recommend it to anyone. You can get your Omega Horse Shine today at omegafields.com, or just for our listeners, get 15% off using the coupon code Monty2015. All one word, it's Monty2015 for 15% off your next order at omegafields.com. That's omegafields.com.
Lee and Hallie Hanssen train and compete on barrel fraternity horses and have horses in their blood. They start 4- and 5-year-olds into competition, which has honed their horsemanship skills to the championship level. They are trainers, agents, breeders, and competitors at the highest levels, and they love their horses. Well, welcome, Lee and Hallie Hanssen. I am so glad to have you back. We had you, for listeners who haven't heard the episode 39, they should go back to that and listen to the first time we got to talk to you, because you guys really do have a unique and very current approach to barrel racing and barrel fraternity horses and bloodlines and all that. And I've heard Hallie's had a bang-up year so far in 2016. Is that true?
Yeah, it has been really going well for us this year. So we've had some really nice horses, and they've been placing all year along the way. So it's been really good so far.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, you got to name some names here too, because basically you guys, we've told people that you start 4- and 5-year-olds into competition. So you really are hands-on. You don't just get some pre-made push button horse that, you pay a lot of money for. You guys are actually building these horses. And tell us something about how Margarita Red Rita's doing. I saw a fabulous photo of her.
Yeah, Margarita Red Rita, she has been doing really well this year. She placed at the slot race in Oklahoma City. That was her very first run. So she was a 3-year-old there. It's the 1st of December. And it's a $100,000 slot race. And she placed 7th, I believe. And she placed in Arizona. She made the finals at Fort Smith recently and was 4th there. So that's a pretty prestigious fraternity to even make the finals at, and she ended up 4th. And Lee and I had owned that mare, and we recently sold her as well. But so it's been pretty fun that we actually get to own one and go on with it. So.
Yeah. So a lot of them you get to the competition level and then they sell to somebody else, or do you often start them in the competitions and then somebody falls in love with them?
Usually most of our fraternity horses sell throughout the year. At this point in the year, I think we've sold 4 out of the 6 that we have going. Traditionally, the new owners will want Hallie to finish the year on them, and then they'll take them after. That's not always the case, but I would say, 75% of our fraternity horses are sold at some point through the year. So yeah, Hallie trains them, starts competing on them, and once they start winning, the phone usually starts ringing.
Oh, well, I guess that's good and bad. Do you feel good and bad about that, Hallie? How does that feel?
I feel, sometimes it's harder than others to let them go, but as long as, like with Margarita Red Rita, we get to keep her through the year and run her. And that was kind of my goal, was to at least get her seasoned enough to where someone could get on her after I was done and continue winning on her. So that's my main goal. It makes me so happy to see horses that I've trained go on with somebody else and be able to win in the rodeo arena, or, just at the bigger 4D barrel races even. So it's really rewarding to see that continue.
Yeah, I imagine it's like your kids, they're going off and getting married off, sort of.
Yeah, I think the only difference is, when we start these horses, we start off knowing that they're going to leave here someday. We don't start them and think, oh gosh, this horse is going to die here. That will be fit for 25 years, and so it is always a little sad, but at the end of the day, it's
your business.
It's a business decision. When, like Hallie said, when you can go and see that horse have a good home and continue to win for years, it just builds our program even more.
Yeah, good. Yeah, good. It's, you keep a little, I suppose, 5% of your heart locked up, but it is fun. It's fun to see them being shared, recycled out there and used, repurposed and everything too. Tell us too about Trace Movitas, Reserve Champion. I'm looking at my notes here. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Trace Movitas, she's owned by a man named Tom Jacobs, and Vita is what we call her. She was reserve champion at Kinder, Louisiana at the Lance Graves fraternity, and it was actually very surprising to us because she had not been at very many events prior to that. And so we were more than thrilled with the outcome there. And she's really been a strong contender all year for us. And she also made the finals recently at Fort Smith. I hit a barrel on her in the short round to be really good, but she's just a really neat mare. She's a Blazing Move, which her mother went to the NFR in the barrels. I don't know how many years, but Christy Laughlin ran her. So she's bred to do it, and she's a fun one to have around.
Yeah, that's right. And you've got somebody who's rooting for you in the stands, the owner too. So that's fun.
Yeah.
So I'm sure, are there other horses that we should mention here that I didn't hear about? Tell me about how it's been going this year with others.
I have another horse that I won the slot race on in Arizona. His name is French Streakin' Jest. He's a red roan stallion that I am running for Barb and Tom Westover. He has not been to many events because I've ran him at about 5 deals so far because he got hurt at one of them. So we've had to give him a bunch of time off, but we're getting back on him now, and he's already won more than my other horses just in the 5 events. But so we're getting back on him, getting him ready to go the end of July, and we're hoping for really good things. So
good. Yeah. And So I got to ask, I'm thinking about injuries. You guys must have like a machine with the horses that you have at that high level. What's your program? What's a day look like for you guys?
What's a typical day look like here?
Yeah. What's your program I mean, I don't want to hear all your secrets because I wouldn't ask that question.
We can't give away all of our secrets.
Yeah, you can't give away all your secrets. So keep a few. But what makes you guys year after year now, you're young, but you're producing champions year after year and you're training them up. So what's the program?
We're really consistent with what we do. I would say every day, we get up, we feed at the exact same time. We're pretty neurotic about it. They get fed at 7:30, not a minute later, not a minute sooner. We let them finish breakfast as we drink coffee or exercise ourselves or whatever we're doing in the morning. And then by 9:00, we are saddling. And really, Hallie and I are the only two that ever get on the horses' backs. We don't really have anyone else loping for us or riding for us. It's just the two of us that do it. And so we've learned what they need. And I warm up everything for her. So before she rides any horse, I always ride it first. And Hallie works them around the barrels when they need it. And, at this point in the year, I'd say, they get ridden, 4 or 5 times a year, next year's horses, or 4 or 5 times a year, 4 or 5 times a week.
Day. A week.
And
okay.
They go on freestyle exerciser the other day. And Hallie might work them fast once or twice a week until they learn, what they're doing and know where to put their feet. And she likes them pretty solid before we take them places. It's just her way. Some people kind of haul them to let them see the sights as they're learning. I'd say Hallie likes them to know what they're doing before we go anywhere. And so once they start looking pretty sharp at home, we start hauling them to just open jackpots and barrel races to do time onlys or exhibitions just to get them used to the crowds and not having a ton of practice time. They kind of just have to go in and do their job, and we can fix whatever falls apart at home. And once they know their job, we don't really work them fast much at all at home, and we just start hauling them. And I think one thing that I've noticed really riding with Hallie is she just always does the same thing. And she's very patient with her horses, whereas if horses aren't working good or they're having a hiccup, Hallie doesn't change the head stall or a bunch of stuff. She just consistently does what she does and lets that horse come back around to the way that it's been trained. Granted, there are exceptions when a horse may need a different bridle or whatnot, but I would say consistency has really paid off for us.
Yeah, that's good. That's good for horses, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, their brains are fragile. They seem to like a real pedantic. I've even heard some trainers saying, that I teach, not me, that they teach the like one lead at a time. Even, people seem to be backing off and really getting pedantic about their routines. Is it like that in the barrel racing as well?
I would say I try to keep it simple for them. I think they learn off of repetition. So I do a lot of repetition and just try to keep things simple. Like I want them to know the pattern, and I don't want them to steer off the pattern. So I don't do a lot of drills off of like around barrels or anything like that. I basically go to the pattern and teach them right where I want them to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For example, we have a horse. Yeah. We have a horse right now that's kind of struggling, like crossing over and just making that move. And so, like, we're working him off the fence a lot more right now before she goes to the pattern. So we get him moving his feet the way that we want to, so that when he goes to the pattern, it's easy for him. It's not like a stressful thing that we're trying to get him to learn a new move around a barrel when he can't do it off the barrel.
Right. Yeah, great, you guys. That's excellent. Excellent for the horses, and obviously you're getting the results. So that's true. You talked about feeding routinely on time and everything too. Do you have a seasonal feed? Do you change your feed up for competition and not competition? How's that go?
We don't. We feed our performance horses straight alfalfa, and then grain, we feed woodies. So we either feed the futurity horses sales prep or the younger colts futurity 18, and then our supplements are always from Omega Fields, and we don't change anything. I think that I think it's just part of the consistency. Our horses get the same thing. They're fed at 7:30 and 4, and their hay stays the same, and their grain stays the same. And I think it all is a big part of the program.
Yeah, good. And when you travel, do you find water issues when you travel where you guys are going through the middle of the country mostly? But do you find that you do electrolytes in the water or anything like that? I'm getting all your secrets here today. I mean, do they have any issues with being off water, on water? I know that's so critical for horses.
Well, we have some that are probably, I would say, better drinkers than others on the trailer, like when we stop and give them water, through the mangers or whatever. We have others that are better drinkers, but for the most part, ours drink pretty well on the road, and we don't really put electrolytes in the water. We might add some to the feed if it's going to be somewhere where it's really hot and humid that they're not used to. But for the most part, ours, as I feel like, as long as they are comfortable in their environment, they are more likely to drink. And so if we've prepared them before we haul them on big, long trips, they usually are good drinkers.
Yeah, well said, Hallie. I totally agree with you. Jen and I were on the communications this morning talking about how important it is to keep that adrenaline down, keep our horses happy, keep them calm. Everything seems to work better on those days when they, that's it. Huh? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good. Well, where will we see you next? Where can people, let's see, this episode will be coming out in about August 1. So where will you be in August so people can come find you?
I will be at the Cornhusker Fraternity in Broken Bow, Nebraska. That is, not too sure on the dates. I know it's the middle of August there. And then we go to the 5-state fraternity in Rapid City, South Dakota. Then we will go to the FISBOM fraternity in Gillette, Wyoming. And then we head to Utah to a fraternity. And then we're going to go to Copper Springs. We haven't totally figured out our schedule yet, but I think we're going to go to the Copper Springs fraternity in Bozeman too there.
But let's just say there will be plenty of places to see her in August and September.
Yeah, it sounds like no
alfalfa
exactly growing
tell
in your
you where
feet.
yet, but will be a lot of places.
That's okay. We'll have to
follow.
follow. We will put in the show notes your Facebook pages and how people can track you down. But you know what? Just put your names in the Google and find you guys are all over the place. So
absolutely.
I appreciate you slowing down long enough to give us a quick interview. And it's always fun to catch up with all your success. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Bye now.
Whisper the language of the herd. Listen, you don't have to say a word.
It's time for Jamie Jennings to fetch an email from Monty Roberts' inbox and share a morsel of Monty's wisdom in a little segment we like to call Ask Monty.
Leave this world a better place than mine. The magic in the language of the herd.
Dear Monty, my horse will not allow you anywhere near her with clippers. If they are running, it's impossible. If they're quiet, you can come close but not touch. What can I do? Monty's answer. A useful approach to dealing with a horse that has a fear of clippers involves desensitizing to a hairdryer. Your horse will become familiar with the sound of an electric motor, feel no pain from it, and actually enjoy the warm air it produces. When answering this question in demonstrations, I advise people to give the horse a bath and then dry the animal off with a hairdryer. It is a good idea gradually to direct the flow of air towards the head, ears, or wherever the fear of clippers is evident. This procedure will be effective for head-shy horses as well. Once your horse is standing quietly while the hairdryer is producing a flow of warm air into the ears, you are ready to begin to massage the ears with one hand while you handle the hairdryer with the other. The next step involves recruiting an assistant to deal with the hairdryer while you do the clipping. With the dually halter assisting you, it is important to remember to back up to an acceptable area of work anytime your horse becomes resistant to what you're doing. Make your transitions slowly. Respect for your horse is essential, and they have a right to test all of these actions as you move through the recommended procedures.
For more of these insights into good horsemanship, go to www.montyroberts.com and click on the orange banner that says get free horse tips.
Hi, I'm Monty Roberts, and I'm dedicated to training horses without pain. You can learn to do it too on my Equus Online University. Western, English, the beginner, or the advanced rider. It doesn't matter. You can connect with other students online too, on our forum, and there's a new lesson every week. It's a lifetime of learning for you on my Equus Online University at montyroberts.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Where in the world is Monty Roberts?
Monty is looking forward to meeting some new friends, two-legged and four-legged, August 1 through 5, coming right up, the Monty Special Training at Flag is Up Farms in California. Then August 22 through September 2 is the second annual now Gentling Wild Horses course at Flag is Up Farms in California. Then September 9, we have Horse Sense for Leaders. That's a fun one at the school. Down in the corporate area, we have a nice classroom and we take them out to the round pen. So that's our corporate module on Friday. And then on Saturday, we have a night of inspiration. And that's a dinner and a round pen demonstration and telling stories around the campfire. It's really fun.
Ooh,
September
is there
10th.
s'mores? Are there s'mores involved?
Oh, we always melt s'mores.
Oh,
yes. Love those. And then September 24 and 25, we have a Riding with Respect, and that's Join Up in the Saddle.
I need to see that.
You do.
Yeah, I really need to see that. Yes. And for Monty's calendar and lots more information, you can go to Monty Roberts' website. That's montyroberts.com. Or you can talk to a wonderful, live, helpful human being right there at Flag is Up Farms by calling 805-688-6288. And for details about today's show, go to the website, horsemanshipradio.com, where you'll find links, photos, and more information about today's guests. And we love to hear your feedback. It helps us make the show better. So follow Monty on Facebook, Monty Roberts on Facebook, and you can leave comments there, or you can follow him on Twitter. That's right, Monty Roberts tweets. It's Monty_Roberts. And go get the app. You can have all of the Horse Radio Network shows with you wherever you go by using our free app for Horse Radio Network. Go to your iTunes or Android app store and just search Horse Radio Network.
I love the app. Everybody should do that, especially if you're lazy like me. So
it's
so
quick
easy.
and easy and convenient, and you don't have to remember to download anything. It just does it for you.
Right there on my phone. Yeah, no, it's perfect. Keeps me going. I use that in the car. I love it, you guys. Many thanks to our sponsors, too. We've got IFA.com, Omega Fields, and Monty's Equus Online University. And be sure to visit all the other great shows, too. They're so much fun on the Horse Radio Network at www.horseradionetwork.com. Till next time, have many happy horse hours.